Hi, I'm Annie Botticelli, and welcome to my 12-part eclipse series on the eclipses going through the signs and houses. Definitely go to lumelife.com, L-U-M-E life.com, which is my school, Luminous Life Multiversity, to enroll in free courses and all kinds of other offerings I have through there. And when you search for my name, Annie Botticelli, in an internet search, you'll see all kinds of listings of mostly free resources that I make for you to facilitate your study of astrology and your quest for vibrational wellness. So this series is talking about eclipses. I'm doing one eclipse video for each sign and house. Okay, so every sign in astrology corresponds with a house in the zodiac wheel. And so an eclipse in a certain sign is also the energy of that corresponding house. And this becomes very helpful to understand when you want to go deeper in your study of eclipses and how they may affect you, and understanding the opportunities and the lessons that are at play during each eclipse cycle. Each eclipse cycle is about 2 years long, and every 6 months in those 2 years we have a hot spot where the actual eclipses occur. So the storylines, the themes, the lessons, the opportunities, the chances to clear karma and get on our dharmic path, which is our highest expression path, which is what the eclipses really represent. They occur along the nodal line, and the nodes represent clearing karma and stepping into our highest expression. So every eclipse that we have and every eclipse cycle that's at play is really facilitating us in healing, clearing karma, and on stepping on our highest trajectory, which is our dharma, our purpose, why we're here. So that's why it's really important to understand them, and why I spend so much time creating resources to facilitate this for you. Okay, so I'm going to give you a little bit of a background on what eclipses, what they represent and what they can bring, and then we'll go into the featured sign and house for this video. Okay, so these eclipses happen twice a year usually. Sometimes it's every 6 months basically, so it could be the beginning of one year and then in the middle and then towards the end, or they're broken up that way. So when the eclipses come, they tend to bring alive and into clear view that scientific law that matter is not created, neither created nor destroyed, it just changes form. We can really see that at play at the eclipses, where it's taking energy from one area, because the eclipses run with polarities. Okay, so there are 12 signs and there are 6 polarities. So there's signs that oppose each other, that are a pair. And the eclipses happen in these 2 opposing signs throughout that 2 years. So it's a reshuffling and a reworking of energy. So one eclipse cycle, it will take from one area and add to the other, and vice versa. So we're just kind of shifting and reshuffling and reorganizing energy in those arenas of your life. The eclipses occur in certain signs, and those effects are global. But they also drill down into certain areas of your chart for each sign, and that understanding this and watching these videos will help you to take the work deeper. Now, in order to figure out during each eclipse cycle what houses are being accentuated for you personally, just watch my monthly videos, and somewhere in the area of the eclipse time, I'll be talking about it, but it will save me a lot of time having this video series to refer you to, so we don't have to cover all of this in each of the horoscope videos, which is what I used to do. Okay, so this reshuffling of energy, where basically the energy isn't it isn't created, it changes forms. So we might see a grandparent die and a child be born. So for that person who's experiencing that, it's like an area of their lives that was present with them for their whole lives is gone, but now this new energy is here. So it's like this major reshuffling of energy, and it very often has very, very major trajectory changes for a lot of people, and it's going to depend on the exact degree that it's hitting planets in your chart. But if it's really affecting you, you'll know it. Everybody else may have a subtle change that's harder to notice or recognize, but it's definitely affecting everyone, regardless of whether we're aware of it or not. And the more you look, the more you'll see these things at play. So eclipse season, what I call eclipse season, lasts about 4 to 6 and even sometimes 8 weeks before the actual eclipse. You'll see a heating up. It's kind of like, I always think about it as a pot on a stove, where it's like a certain pot, okay, and a certain liquid in that pot that has a certain energy that has the signs that are in that eclipse cycle. And during the actual eclipse time, it heats up to a boil, and then during the times in between, it's like down to a simmer. And then turn up, the universe cranks up the messages and they convert from the inner world into the outer world, and we get to see them more clearly. And so it heats up and then it kind of fades back down, and it heats up, but the themes are always at play for these 2 months. For these 2 years. Okay, so just make sure I tell everything else. So the things that happen at eclipse time tend to feel destined a lot of times, where things happen, and a lot of times it's out of our control. Eclipses often bring non-negotiable changes to our lives. It can be very scary and very stressful. So it's definitely a key point around eclipse time to do modalities that help you to ease anxiety, and I discuss those in videos and other offerings that I have on how you can keep the anxiety level low so that you can stay connected with your intuition and with spirit and navigate through them in the easiest way. Okay, so even though there are certain things in our lives that are fated and unavoidable, there are definitely things we have some say in, and we can shift our experience of those events. So understanding all of these things and doing inner work to help clear out the karmic gunk that's coming up can be part of how we can have a better experience of the things that are fated to happen. Okay, so just make sure there's everything I wanted to talk about there. Okay, yeah, so just the overview is that eclipses as an astronomical occurrence happen at the time they're happening, but eclipses as an astrological occurrence happen for all of the time they're occurring. And you'll notice for the years that a certain eclipse cycle is happening, if you go back to the last time or last times that eclipse cycle happened, there are themes at play that will likely come back into your life. It doesn't mean the same things will happen per se, but you'll see the same lessons, the same topics that are moving you along in a certain area of life. Okay, so now let's check out the sign and house of focus. Eclipses often bring radical changes, major news, major trajectory shifts, sudden accomplishments, sudden things getting eclipsed out, other things getting eclipsed in, things coming to fruition. And when there's an eclipse in the second house or Taurus, these are the areas that I see most highlighted with these storylines. One of the big ones is finances. So there are many different facets of finance. Someone could have a big breakthrough in how they're doing their budgeting. So, and sometimes this is forced from the outside, and sometimes it's instigated from the inside. So a sudden realization that something has to be changed. I've also seen eclipse in second house or Taurus bring about major purchases. Now, it's always important to take this information about eclipses and also factor in what else is happening at the time, because if an eclipse is in a personal planet retrograde, recommendations for whether to make major purchases, may be shifted depending on certain time frames. But in general, in an eclipse season, I often see major purchases made, a home, a boat, a luxury item, or a sustainability item, solar, adding solar, something that's a major purchase that will enrich your life in some way, often comes through. I've seen, major jewelry purchases, something that has some significance to the person from a material perspective, often comes through with these eclipses. I've seen new sources of income. This is one of the major things that I see in these eclipse in second house or Taurus cycles, is a new way of making money, a new source of income, a raise, something different or additional about money. Also, sometimes a source of money can be eclipsed out, so depending on the energy, but changes in how you make money, changes in sources of income. Sustainability topics. So this has to do again with the finances, like questions about sustainability, things coming to a head. Maybe they've been unsustainable and they spiral out of control in the eclipse time. Maybe you have a great breakthrough and you pay off debt and get current in the eclipse time. Something having to do with living sustainably from the financial perspective. An increase in savings, like a bunch of money come in or a bunch of money go out, something having to do again with anything in the financial sector. I've seen things in having to do with the environment and the earth, so earth projects, getting your hands dirty, building projects, again, sustainability as it relates to the environment, your imprint, questions about your imprint, or, something having to do with changing the environment around you, building or creating. The energy of security comes up quite a bit, so emotional security, financial security. So a lot of times there are major occurrences on the topic of security. So again, that can be like a zap to the security where something shifts and you're feeling less secure, or something happens that solidifies that feeling of security. And all of this can also have to do with, even steps that one takes to be more financially certain in the future. So putting things together that will affect this sector at some point. And also inner work having to do with self-esteem based on making more money. So, again, raises or the awareness of one's own value that can shift what they call in as far as their income. This energy of sustainability can have to do with the financial sector, but is also, very holistic. So the quest to be emotionally sustainable, financially sustainable, where someone can do things on their own. So not just sustainable as it relates to the world, but also sustainable as it relates to the individual's ability to stand on their own feet. So being able to rely on inner resources sometimes, even rather than having to have someone else or outside resources. So like a remembering of inner resources and a development of your own inner resources. I often see these the eclipse cycles that have to do with second house and Taurus have to do with starting a business. And again, you could see the relationship here between sustainability, but I have seen it in a manifestation where somebody starts a business, somebody ends a business, somebody opens a new chapter within a business, somebody closes a chapter within a business, so the closing or opening of chapters or the closing and opening of whole projects can follow the eclipse cycles or eclipse placements in this house. And that does, again, lead back to this energy of sustainability, because when one has their own business, there's a different level of sustainability than, kind of just making everything happen themselves and developing the way by which their finances will improve, kind of taking the financial picture by the reins and feeling back more in control or more in a directive role in the financial sector. And often that does have to do with having one's own business. Sometimes I've seen this where people start businesses on the side of their regular businesses, and sometimes I've seen this eclipse manifestation be where this is the time when their business takes flight or they kind of jump all in. So I hope you loved this. Definitely look at my other resources. If you search for my name, Annie Botticelli, online, you'll find tons of things that I offer you. You can go to my website, anniehelpsyou.com, for lots of blogs and other things that can facilitate your journey. You can go to cozybysweetstarlight.com for written horoscopes, lifestyle blogs, and astrology kissed information that I think you will just love. You can go to lumelife.com, L-U-M-E life.com, to see my school, Luminous Life Multiversity. And definitely check out my growing list of books, including my new book, PLANETOLOGY. If you search for Annie Botticelli and PLANETOLOGY and Annie Botticelli, Radical Prayer, those are the two books that are out as of the time of my recording this. And I'm sure as this goes on, you will see more books coming out from me. I hope you have a wonderful eclipse season, and I'll see you in another video. Bye!